Hi, everyone. We're on to the last panel of the event. This is day 2 of the Flower Expo. Thank you for coming. Give yourselves a hand. Woo! Yeah, everyone. Oh my God, bud tenders are here. Bud tenders are my favorite people. Great to see you all. I see a lot of familiar faces. You all look beautiful. Today, we're going to be talking about this panel actually is put on by Illinois Women in Cannabis. Give them a round of applause. Yes, we have Asia Hill right here up front. Applaud for her. She is the executive director. Did I get that right? Executive director of Illinois Women in Cannabis. I was going to call her president, but we don't like that word. So anyway, hi y'all. Really quick, I want to do a temperature check. How many of you here, raise your hand if you've been to the Flower Expo before? Okay. Raise your hand if this is your first Flower Expo. Okay. Raise your hand if you're a cop. Get out of here, Javi. Javi, we don't want you. No, Javi's not a cop. Okay, we're safe. I didn't see any real hands. That was a joke hand. Now we can start. I had to make sure. Okay, y'all. So today we're talking about the untapped market. That is women, cannabis's hidden majority. So women actually spend the most dollars in your dispensaries and are supporting your brands more in all the ways. So here today we have 4 amazing panelists that I want to introduce. First up, we have Kate Miller, co-founder and CEO of Miss Grass. We've got Victoria Ruiz, founder of Rollin Rosa. We've got Miss Phoebe DePree. I said it right. Did I say it right? There we go. She's founder and CEO of, Goddess Growers. And then Tiffany Whitmore. We have her here at the end, CMO of Kush Queen. Thank you all for being here today. If you don't know me, I'm Sarah Jo Alo. You probably met me when I was working for Wild if you're here, but I have been an entertainer and an advocate here in Chicago for over a decade. I have done a lot of fun things, whether it's screenwriting, filmmaking, stand-up comedy, all sorts of different things in the industry, but I entered the cannabis space during the pandemic. I worked as a bud tender for 2 years at Curaleaf, so I've been where a lot of you are right now. And I'm so excited to have this conversation with all of you. Thanks for coming. Okay, we're gonna do just deli style, so I'm just gonna throw out questions and anyone's welcome to jump in. And then we will have questions after, so if you think of a question, please hold on to it to the end. Okay, I wanna start off. Women are not only the highest spending group in the overall economy, but in cannabis specifically, and yet the industry often overlooks them. What consumer behaviors or trends have you seen that brands need to pay more attention to?
Well, I guess I'll start it off.
Thank you.
I mean, I feel like women, we don't just buy for ourselves, right? We're very considerate individuals. We like to buy for our family, for our friends. And I just feel like when brands give women opportunities and they just don't target them and they're more transparent, it builds trust, right? And then it really enables us to be more comfortable in these spaces, which translates to higher spending. And that's just my opinion. But yeah, I'll leave it up to the other girls.
One of the things that we've seen at Miss Grass is that women in particular are more intentional consumers. They're not just looking for what gets them the most high, but the right high, which sometimes does mean the most high. But really brands who are super intentional about how they formulate their products, what strains they select based on terp profiles or cannabinoid ratios that really do target a specific feeling is one of the things that we're seeing trend-wise. And then the second thing that jumps out is women in particular are really rely on their community to recommend specific products and to build trust. So they're reading the reviews, they're asking their friends what works. It's not just about the hypest marketing campaign to drive purchase. It's really around building loyalty and trust.
And I think what we're all kind of saying is that women and consumers want more. They want great branding. They want to be able to connect with the brand, see themselves represented, feel comfortable, feel like they can ask questions and interact on social media or at the shops with the bud tenders. So consumers want more, and I think we're seeing that not only from women, but for all consumers in the market. Especially in Illinois, everyone's super educated here on cannabis in general, different ratioed products. So that's been a really cool experience coming from California.
I love that. I really have always felt that way in marketing. You're really asking people how they want to feel. They don't really necessarily want to have the highest percentage or indica versus sativa. A lot of that doesn't really speak to people and people's experiences. So I really appreciate that. Going along with what you said, Kate, studies show that while men spend their dollars on themselves or outside of their communities, women tend to invest their money back into their own communities. So how can we as marketers create real community for women, not just market to them as a target?
I would say definitely kind of piggybacking off of what she had mentioned, I feel as though, when you can really relate and you're tying it into their daily rituals and you're not just necessarily marketing products for the sex appeal, right? Thinking that women are all just about the sex. No, I mean, there's wellness, right? There's so many other things that come into play. And also having just more women involved in the stores because women are going to go to the women that are working there. They're not going to go to a man and be like, oh, well, I have period cramps, so what's going to help me with this? You know what I mean? We need more women. We need to have that girlfriend moment.
Totally. People want to feel like they're being spoken to, and there's so much leadership bias in this industry. The people who are ultimately making decisions on who to market to and how to market to need to be representing those communities that they're marketing to, and there's a lot of discrepancies, I would say, in this industry on who those decision makers are catering to communities that they don't identify with and they're not authentically a part of. So I think first and foremost, that needs to change in order to authentically market to and hold space for and create communities for women, and frankly, not just women, all sorts of genders, race, ethnicities, identities. It's really important that those at the organization are authentically a part of the community that they're representing.
I think that's a great point that Kate makes, and I often see what I call top-down marketing. So somebody from very far away making decisions about how to market to a certain community versus bottom-up marketing, where you're going into the community, you're polling the customers, you're asking what they want, and then designing a marketing campaign around what your customers want, so it makes them feel comfortable and it makes them feel like they're being educated instead of marketed to, which is really, at the end of the day, what I think most customers want, not just women.
Yeah, I think the only thing to add to that is that as women, we're connectors, we're the yappers, we're the original influencers. So giving women products something that they're excited about, they're gonna tell their friends, they're gonna gift in the holiday season. And that's what we really focus on at Kush Queen, making an accessible, approachable product that excites people, bringing something new to markets and giving people the opportunity. So that goes all the way to our hiring. We're hiring the people that we wanna see out in the market. We're giving space to the bud tenders. We're making sure they feel comfortable. And if you give people those opportunities, the marketing happens naturally, the word of mouth starts to happen, and that's where you build loyalty and trust within any community.
Thank you. That's so important. Feel free. Give them a hand. Go for it. Yeah, that's fine. Clap. No, I really find that important. I've always taken an approach in marketing where I'm marketing to not even just women. I'm marketing to a specific woman. Maybe she's 32 and she lives in Bucktown.
Having a target customer, oftentimes people say, oh, that's really niche, but there's a mistake in that because it's actually not niche having a focus, because you think of a bullseye and customers emanate out from that, but having a focus just allows the brand to travel down a path, and every decision you make, you think about your focus. So that is something, I think it's a really good point you make.
Yeah, I've found a lot of success in that. Again, we can market to women as a whole, but then we start to just make things pink. And that's not, women are much more complicated than that. And we're not a monolith. We're all different. There's all different types of women. So I appreciate you guys. Okay, so I've got another question for you. Marketing to women often depends on connecting with the female bud tenders who are here today. However, the industry has a glass ceiling still. It's plagued with sexual harassment and often especially overlooks Black women. How can brands better support women in the retail environment in order to empower them in this male-dominated space? And what advice or encouragement might you offer the women in the industry who are going through this now?
One, more events like this that hold space for bud tenders and everyone to be together. Like, I know it's so cliche, but what the fuck is that saying? Like, network equals net worth or whatever. Like, power is in your community and like connecting with each other, sharing stories with each other, introducing, oh, you're looking for, the next opportunity. Oh, I heard this brand is actually looking for a brand manager or whatever it may be. Like, that is everything in, I would say, all industries, but especially in this one. So more events like the Flower Expo, which want to commend them for like holding this and giving an opportunity for everyone to come and network and integrate and smoke weed together outside. I think that's super, super important. Us at Miss Grass, we've really focused on bud tenders for a number of different reasons. Obviously self-serving, like they are the gatekeepers for selling products. So like selfishly, obviously, like we want to be integrated into the bud tender community to drive more sales of our product, but it goes way beyond that. There's been a number of different campaigns that we've done, one of which is called Good at Weed. We partnered with Banks, which is a big hiring platform in our industry, and created a immersive like content series, really focused on educating bud tenders, equipping them with resources they need to, learn about this plant, learn about other opportunities in this space. And I think things like that are super important in this industry to like really center the bud tender community.
So I'm gonna kind of go just a little bit off tangent with that, especially because we're talking, about how there's not enough Black and brown women being involved in the community, and just the lack of a female presence. And I think a lot of it is because it can be very predatory, right? Not just sexually, but also from an economic and relational standpoint. Many men in position of powers don't create opportunities for us women. Instead of respecting us as peers, they extract, right? They take our ideas, our energy, they take our credibility and our connections. So I think really just enabling women to have an opportunity and not just being perceived as the opportunity. And that's basically where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
We can do a round of applause for that,
y'all.
I think.
I took notes. I was ready.
I think we're good on that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Victoria.
Yeah, I think the women's voice matters so much. We are over half of cannabis consumers, and it's just preposterous that that would be a problem, in stores. So really remembering, my message would be just that your voice matters, and the industry needs you. It's not the other way around.
Yeah, I love this question. I think that, cannabis largely is still very much a boys' club. Being an independent operator, I'm in all conversations from trainings to decision makers, and you see it every day. So the experience is real. And what we do at Kush Cream from a cultural standpoint is, make space. That's such an overused term, but having people represented in our visuals, making people feel super comfortable when we're interacting on any level, from bud tender trainings to the boardrooms, and also calling things out and not accepting that, this talk is okay, or someone getting dismissed is okay. We have to stand up where we can as a brand and make sure the precedent is set. So we just involve it in every element of our business. So even, hiring models that look like the bud tenders, and including language that speaks to everyone is really important to us. So representing and making sure that whenever we have the ability to step up and call something out, we do. And that's been part of our DNA as a brand since the beginning.
The only thing I want to add on to that is just like how fucking powerful it is to be a bud tender. Like, they are the ones that are, and I should say, I started my career in this industry as a bud tender. That was my first job in the legal industry in 2008 and the medical community in California. And like, bud tenders are the ones that are speaking to customers. They are the ones above all else that can identify the opportunities, the trends, like firsthand, and just like know how fucking powerful that is within the organization that you're looking for, and speak up, like know the battles that you want to fight. But like, I really think knowing how powerful of a position that bud tenders have is something that like is super important too.
I completely agree. I'm glad you brought it back to that. I think at the end of the day, you can do all the marketing you want on social media, you can have billboards, you can do all of that, but at the end of the day, they come to the counter and the bud tender is gonna tell them what's good and what's not, and that's the end of it. So I really appreciate that. And I think, honestly, if you're a bud tender here in the audience today, I wanna encourage you. I know it's a very thankless job. It can be very underpaid and you can feel unseen and unheard, but we see you and we appreciate you. So,
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Clap for the bud tenders. Yeah, clap for them. Clap for yourselves. So I would actually love to know if you guys can share some real world experience of initiatives or campaigns that you've launched with your brands that you find particularly successful.
Yeah, so I mean, personally, our anniversary campaigns, which we are embarking on our 3rd-year anniversary, I'm very excited to say, lock in the date, y'all, October 12th. However, I would say just like highlighting women forward partnerships, and just really being inclusive. What else? Let's see. Let's check the notey notes. I said by putting women-owned brands side by side, right, working in coalition, we created an environment where women felt comfortable shopping. They stay longer. They want to engage in the community. You know, we want to kiki, we want to chat, but more deeply with one another, not just the brand. And we want to. That's how we build community, right? That's how we get the girlies to come, is by creating that safe space for them.
Yeah. Goddess Growers has had a lot of luck gathering smaller groups of women that are friends with each other, interested in cannabis. Maybe they haven't gone into a dispensary yet, and I'll do a short educational, like 15, 20 minutes spiel on our products, our edibles, but then also just the experience. What is it like when you walk into a dispensary? Bring your license, someone's gonna check, then you're gonna look at an iPad. Here's what a bud tender does. Here are the questions to ask. I think the more that we can talk to groups of people that haven't been into a dispensary yet and make them feel comfortable, because sometimes I think it can be perceived as an intimidating experience. And then also just speaking more broadly to as many groups as possible. I've had a lot of luck. I give a talk called A New Take on an Old Weed. So really just focusing on normalizing and providing a degree of comfort around the plant and walking into the state licensed dispensaries is huge.
Okay, spoiler alert. This story is going to be about THC weed, lube. All right, so we had the opportunity to rebrand our lube, and our co-founder Michael, who's in the audience, shout out to Michael, he brought up the idea of having a tagline for the lube that was THC for the V, the B, and the D. And we were like, exactly, yes. And it has just brought an instant connection. So you're in dispensaries. A lot of bud tenders are from the Gen Z era. It can be a little awkward. So by giving people just that instant ability to have a laugh, to say, oh, I see myself in this, it's kind of created like an instant connection with one of our products. And it's authentic to our brand. So at Kush Queen, we're funny. We like to be a little overt but low-key about it. So it's kind of a way to infuse just language that we think is personally funny, give an instant connection to the customer, and then you start the conversation. So why THC in a lube? And it's been a really fun experience. It snaps people into a smile instantly, and it's been a really fun thing to roll out in our bud tender trainings. Coming to Illinois soon. Watch out for it in your shops.
I love that. If anyone knows me, they know you've got me perked up now. Actually, the Flower Expo, I think, was clowning me a little bit because I was the only one that they didn't list my bio on the website, and it just said coming soon.
LOL.
So if I can get that lube, we can make that come true. Okay, who has a question for these ladies? Say your name, and if you're a bud tender, where are you bud tend?
My name's Tom. I'm in the accessory space. I was really curious about this THC lube, since you happen to bring it up.
I thought that you might be.
What was the unique benefit that it brings and how it appeals to everyone?
That's a great question. So I don't know if everyone heard his question, but he was basically asking what are the benefits of THC lube. So it's before 3 o'clock, so we're going to keep it classy, we're going to keep it clean, but cannabis is a vasodilator, so you're increasing blood flow to the area. People that experience pain, maybe some negative sensations, it can really help with inflammation, and then it's increasing sensitivity ever so slightly, so it gives you a little... So you got to try it when it comes to market, but that would be the biggest benefit, increasing blood flow, and it can also increase sensitivity and help produce stronger orgasms.
Say your name, say what you do.
I am Cassie. I am with the Miss Grass team with Kate over there. And I guess my question is, who is your current biggest inspiration or motivation, or, who are you currently looking up to? Because you already some pretty big people, and I'm curious who inspires you.
I mean, honestly, I feel like all of these women up here are very inspirational. Sarah, absolutely, you inspire me. I think there's a little bit of inspiration that we can find everywhere. And I think it really all also strives from inward, right? Like, what are you about? What are your morals? What is it that you represent? And my motivation is women. My motivation is creating a space where we aren't just underrepresented, but we have a voice and we're recognized and we're treated with respect.
Yeah, clap for that. We can clap. Don't be shy, you guys. Just clap. Live your life. Does anyone else have someone that inspires them?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, Cassie, who asked the question, is part of the Miss Grass team. And more broadly, our team inspires me every day. I hope this changes, but it does feel like every day we wake up and put on our armor and fight the battle, and it's this industry is not for the faint of heart. It's been a hell of a 8+ year journey to build Miss Grass, and I'm just so inspired by our team that really puts so much energy and love and identifies with this brand and makes it so that hopefully there's a ton of Miss Grasses out there in the world one day. That is the goal. So that's definitely inspiring. All of us, this community, I'm so blessed. Yesterday I was here going out and smoking weed with all of you people outside. It's so fun and inspiring to be a part of this community. That is definitely what drives me every day.
Yeah, and I think the emergence of more brands that are looking at female purchasers is inspiring, and there's more and more. So everybody on the stage, and then next year maybe there'll be twice as many seats, and the year after that twice as many seats.
Yeah, absolutely. Real authentic connections, meeting the people of the Illinois community. We're new to market. We didn't know how we were going to be received as a California business, but Illinois has welcomed with open arms. I first came out to an IWC event that Asia hosted, and the team there just had nothing but recommendations, nothing but introductions for us. So that was really inspirational. And to kind of reiterate what you guys said, just our team, we're a family, small-owned business, and just knowing that we're doing it as an independent operator every day is very inspirational.
I've got another question over here.
Hi, my name is Taylor Lindsay. I'm the sales manager for Elevate. I have a question for you women. As we spoke about before, I think that the cannabis industry is very much a male-dominated space and very much a boys' club still. So as women are looking, I think that all of you are inspirational. So as a woman looking up to y'all, what is one piece of advice you can give us as women to break out of those barriers in those spaces or to stand out?
Don't be submissive. Just speak your truths. be adamant and just, obviously be tactful about your approach. I think that coming together, I think that a lot of women think that they have to do it on their own. If you ever have any questions or whatever, you are more than welcome to pull me aside, DM me, reach out to me, because I'm not just here preaching and talking about female empowerment, but I actually want to be a doer, right? Someone told me that there's shit talkers and then there's shit doers, and I'm gonna do both. So,
That
come
part,
holla at your
that
girl.
part, Victoria.
Community, community, community. Like, I can't stress how important that is. Like, the women in this industry are some of the most powerful, inspiring, supportive women I have ever met in my life. And like, I would definitely not be here if it wasn't for so many people, including people in this audience. So I would just say, like, hold hands with each other, be super collaborative. Like, that is so, so, so important, and it exists. And then the last thing I'll keep saying this, is like, know our fucking worth. Like, women make up a lot of the consumers in this industry, across all industries. Like, they are the ones that are driving purchase decisions. Like, we're more equipped to cater to women than anyone else. So like, just like, hold on to our power and know that we are super fucking powerful.
Yeah, and I also always remind myself that this industry is brand new still, and it's making progress, but there's still a lot more progress to be made. And pull up a seat at the table, and use your voice. Your voice matters, and that would be probably my words of advice.
Don't be a mean girl. No mean girls allowed.
Yeah, no mean girls here. But also, this is very basic, but really knowing what you want and asking for it. If you find yourself in a situation where you're unhappy at, a job thing, what do you want out of it? How can you position yourself to say, like, hey, I need to either make more money, or I need, different job duties to help me excel, and straight up asking. I think that people overlook that simplicity of, I'm unhappy, but what can I ask for? The worst that you're gonna get is a no, and then you can then decide, does this still work for me, or do I need to move on?
Thank you. Yeah, I really love that. I always say too, if you don't have a seat at the table, don't sit on the floor. Go to a different room. That's weird. Like, why would everyone's sitting at the table and you're gonna sit on the floor? Weird. Anyway, does anyone else, you have a question here?
It was reported earlier this year that about 3% of cannabis investment funding goes to women-owned companies.
It's probably
3%.
less.
Yeah, probably, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we have a better, I think I heard some stat, you have a better chance of winning an Oscar than getting venture funding.
So true. And I've heard a lot of horror stories from women I know that have been like propositioned to get money and like some terrible things, but I'd love to hear some of your experience of that and maybe some advice you'd have for women looking to get investment funding.
How much time do you have?
I love this question too. How do we get women paid?
This is my favorite topic. I could talk all day long. I think in fundraising in general, I was trained by this woman who I just want to just give her a little shout out. She is no longer with us, but her name's Sarah Batterby, and she taught me how to fundraise, the strategy behind it. And the main principle is that it's an exchange of value. So yes, you are asking for capital, but you are giving them value from this company, this working hypothesis that you're raising money for. And when I was first starting, I read the stats. I knew that I probably wasn't going to get venture funding, so I focused on trying to locate angels. Well, who's an angel? You don't know. So then tell everybody, if you're raising money, you tell them. I go into the supermarket and I would talk about it all the time at checkout in case the person behind me might be interested. And then if somebody says, oh, send me your stuff, I say, I'd love to have a 15-minute conversation. Do you have some time? If they say no, they were never going to invest. So then it's just all about evening the landscape. You're not down on bended knee asking, you are across the table asking is my main message.
I wish I had like the perfect advice here. I'd say right now it is so freaking hard to raise capital, and especially in cannabis. Like, no one is investing in this space right now. And I shouldn't say that. Like, go out there and fucking try and look outside of traditional cannabis investors. But I would say like look within look within our industry to see what you can do to like start making money and like creating a business until it's like undeniable that this will be successful, and then go out for venture capital. And that could mean like structuring different deals. Like as a brand, we have licensing deals in a lot of markets where our supply chain partner puts up the working capital for us. So it doesn't require a ton of capital for us to launch in these markets. Like that's just one example of a potential structure, not having capital to start showing I can drive sales, we can activate our community. There's a million of different structures that you could do, but I do think right now, just given the landscape, it's really important to get creative to like build a business and start making money and cash flow and then going out for venture. Like I don't know any brand lately that's gotten like pre-revenue seed capital in this space.
Any more questions out in the audience? We've got time for a few more.
I do have a few things that I wanted to kind
Go
of
off.
talk about
Go
it,
off,
since there's
Victoria.
no questions, unless anybody has a question.
Anyone over
So I
here
got
before
my
I walk
notes.
away?
So guys, I'm gonna stand now. I can't sit anymore.
Do it.
Basically, I wanted to just kind of go over the reality check that we keep touching base on, right? Which is that women are underrepresented in leadership, ownership, and distribution. And this lack of access is what keeps women from fully shaping the industry, despite being its top spenders and the fastest growing consumer group. And I think that what true empowerment would look like in this space would be respect, real opportunities, not token roles or one-off panels, tangible support, right? So shelf space, mentorship, capital, partnerships, and I think the best call to action towards the brands, I would say, stop treating women as marketing tools and include us in the decision making, you know? That makes sense, right? Maybe retailers can prioritize women-owned products on shelves to create safer, more welcoming shopping environments for women, as well as having more female budtenders involved. And then just, I just want to close with saying, when we're given the real opportunities, the entire space becomes safer, it becomes more inclusive, and ultimately more profitable. And that's all. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Victoria. That was honestly a perfect note for our ending. I know we're ending a little early, but that was such a lovely conversation. I appreciate you guys all for being here. Does anyone else have any last things they'd like to add? Well, thank you. Give our panelists another round of applause. And please enjoy the rest of the Flower Expo. Thank you for coming today. Get plenty high. And thank you again to Illinois Women in Cannabis for creating this space for us. Thanks, guys.